I would much rather swing for the fences in my 30s than to die in my 80s wondering why I never tried. See what I'm saying? So you have to know what your numbers are. Figure it out.
Welcome to the Contrarian Capitalist Podcast, the ultimate destination for accredited investors and entrepreneurs seeking alternative wealth-building strategies. Discover how to fast-track your journey to wealth and time freedom by thinking outside the box. If you're ready to join the ranks of the Contrarian Capitalists and learn the most effective ways to reach your financial goals faster, you're in the right place. Let's get started with today's episode of the Contrarian Capitalist Podcast.
Thank you once again for listening to another episode of the Contrarian Capitalist Podcast. I'm your host and your favorite silverback, Sylvania Harrod. And on today's episode, I'm going to give you a little bit of the tea of what is required in order to calculate the days of when it's time to leave and exit a 9-to-5. This was a personal experience that I had to go through, and I've recommended this to numerous clients over time, which was you have to figure out your number. Like you hear me referred to as your nut. Like there is a number you have to figure out. That's your FU number. And so for everybody, you have different risk profiles. So the way that I go through and I suggest this, and this was asked to me via DM, is you have to first go in and realize how much is your quality of life? Like how much what are your outflows, right? So you have to figure out and calculate your number. You go through and you figure out, okay, let's say that number is 10 grand a month. That's how much it costs you and your family to live. If you're by yourself, it's probably a little bit less. And this is not a wants list. This is a needs list. These are the things that if you do not pay, you're going to get in trouble for. So you're going to understand what those needs are. And so in those needs, you're going to think about things like student loans, car notes, mortgages, grocery spend. Like these are all things you want to go figure out that you actually need. And so sometimes that need list is much lower than your wants, because you may go through and as you're auditing, realize, damn, I spent a bunch of money on just dumb stuff that I don't need to buy. Little purchase here, little purchase there, eating out, et cetera, et cetera. Like it's up to you to determine exactly what you actually need. So after you calculate that number, and let's just say it's 10 grand, you're then going to look at 401ks, equity in assets you currently own, cash on hand, and look at, okay, how much runway do I have? And so after evaluating how much runway you have, let's say you have 120 grand. Okay. So you have roughly 10 months worth of, or 120, that's 12 months worth of runway. So you got a year, right? Then you ask yourself this next question. And this is only for somebody evaluating leaving today, not someone who's like, I want to leave in 3 years, just to clarify on there. So you're going to look and you say, how long, with my current experience and skill set and relationships I know, how long do I think it will take me to actually go get another job if I needed to? And you look back and you say, okay, let's say 6 months or 4 months. I'm gonna increase it to 6 months because we just never know what the job market is going to be like. So 6 months. So the reality is you have 6 months to chase the thing that you want to chase, because you can look at it and go, all right, 6 months. I would personally recommend at least 9 months, because if you're going to start something from scratch, it's going to take you about 90 days of consistently talking about the topic, another 90 days after that for you to like figure out the next iteration. And then typically by month 9, depending on your skill set, you should be starting to grow. So even if you look at it, let's say it's a year, right? Now just look back on what you have. You have a couple options. If you want to extend that year longer than anything else, and that's a year of you making no money, right? A year total, no money, no nothing coming in. You got to ask yourself the question, how stressed are you going to be with that information I just gave you? If you know you really have 6 months to chase something when you know it should take 9 months, what's the better choice to make? Better choice to me personally is to evaluate my outflows and save more, because it'll totally take the stress off of you when you have almost 2 years of run rate that you can operate off of. That changes the game, because a lot can change in 2 years. Everything from business, politics, laws, legislation, etc. And what this allows you to do is that this allows you to remove the stress off of what's going on. Because here's the facts. The reason why we gain assets is not to hoard them. It's to give us a golden ticket that in the event of emergency, pull the fire alarm. It gives you time. This time and these moments are so precious right now. I would much rather swing for the fences in my 30s than to die in my 80s wondering why I never tried. See what I'm saying? So you have to know what your numbers are. Figure it out. You have to go through and just know, because here's the other thing that's going to happen. One day you're going to feel on top of the world. The next day you're going to question your entire existence. Then the following week you're going to go through and be like, I finally did it. All that to say, it ebbs and flows, ebbs and flows, ebbs and flows. It's like the current. Goes in, comes back out. Goes in, comes back out. The constant is you. So know your numbers. Figure out what your numbers are. And then you can back into that, because as you go in, whether it's try the business or buy the business or go through, you can figure out, because you have time to figure out what you want to do. If you have at least a year and a half to 2 years, that affords you the opportunity to really accelerate your desires of what you want. So just as land the plane, a little bit of homework. First thing you need to do is figure out your needs. Step 1. Step 2, then figure out and calculate how much, based on that first data point of needs, how much time do you actually have? Because if it takes you 6 months to get a job and you have a year of runway, you really want 18 months. So if you know your outflows are 10 grand a month, you need 180 grand in some type of liquidable asset, whether it's 401k, whether it's equity in your house, whether it's equity in rental properties you already own, whether it's earned income. Those are all things. Work to get to that point. Once you're out that point, you now can be patient and slow down and recognize, what is the thing I want to pour myself into? Because not all businesses are created equal. There's a reason why I don't do restaurants, y'all. No way, no how. Too much time. You're going to be there forever. But that's me. That's my definition. It doesn't have to be yours. You may love restaurants. You may love cooking. And that's your jam. That's your jam. You go chase that. But all of that, once you've calculated your number, once you calculate how much time you have, then it's a matter of you need to execute weekly towards your desires, because you're going to see money come out of the account and you're going to see different expenses pop up. And then some nights you're not going to be able to sleep because you're sitting there wondering, and as the idea factories are pouring through your brain of what you need to do, be able to quiet so you can fall asleep. All of this is because it's about the journey and not the destination. Destination is a destination, but what you learn and who you become and the bonds you build is going to be worth everything and more. And then for you parents out there, the level of gift you can give to your children, of them witnessing you chase after your dream, grants them permission to do the same things for themselves. So with that being said, I love feedback. I love getting information from people. I love the DMs. So thank you for all that reach out, that comment, that pick up the phone, call, text me. I enjoy those conversations, because what it allows me to do is make sure that I'm staying on track and creating the kind of content that you truly desire. So as always, stay hungry, stay humble, and stay grateful. Cheers, everybody.